Hey everyone, welcome back. So, I just wanted to let everyone know why I shaved. Turns out, if you have whipped cream smashed into your face, you want to shave that beard afterwards. Not that it was a huge beard or anything, and it'll grow back probably in 2 weeks, but last night we actually hit 150 followers on our Twitch channel, which was awesome. It led to this kind of shenanigan.
Why?
So yeah, that was a time. It was kind of interesting though to see everyone kind of rally behind it. We got like 8 followers in like 30 minutes, which was unheard of for me at the time, and extremely exciting to see stuff grow so fast. It really kind of boosted up that sense of community that we have, where we all kind of can help each other out. And I saw one of my friends was messaging his friends saying, "Hey, have you followed Shane?" And it was really fun. That was something that was much needed with everything that's so dire and stressful right now going on in the world and the community. It was cool to see that and have the ability to chat with people while playing a game or playing Outer Worlds. And just the whole way through was a good time. Even after the pie got slammed into my face, we kept talking and chatting. And so now the goal is going to be 300 followers on Twitch. When that happens, we're going to record a live, I don't want to say music video, but basically record a YouTube video with me playing guitar and an original song. Now that's something I haven't done in about 10 years. I haven't played guitar nearly as much as I should have been for the past 10, and really haven't done much since high school and early college. It just kind of waved. I lost interest, I guess. Now that I'm able to work on some of my creative pursuits more, it's coming back again. And I'd be very excited to do that and share that with everyone as well. So 300 followers on Twitch, and we're gonna get to that. And I think we've grown our community so much already that it'll happen before we know it. Now, on this vlog, I kind of wanted to chat with something that came up last night in the chat of Twitch, and also when I was doing our podcast, which is another thing we do. We just started that. We only have 2 episodes out right now, but we started in March. And it's that I graduated high school twice. And it's interesting, to say the least. I graduated in 2009 the first time, and 2010 the second time. And I'm not talking how I had to repeat a year of high school or anything like that, like I didn't understand something or had trouble with it. That's not the case. So let me tell you this quick story. Back in 2006, 2007, we moved from California to Kansas. Okay, big jump, Sacramento, California to Oberlin, Kansas, of all places. Very different change, believe it or not. Ugh, that move. So I didn't always like school then, and it led to me being kind of a poor student. I understood what was going on there, but it was such a dynamic social change, and I didn't get along with my parents at the time. I argued, but who would have guessed? I'm a teenager, right? Along with that, it led to some things where I was missing school, wouldn't go in on some days, I'd fight with my mom. It didn't resolve well. Cut to a little bit future. We were in my junior year of high school, and we had a bump that was kind of growing on my leg very fast. It was really hard. It wasn't a good bump, and they were getting worried that it could be cancerous. So we scheduled a surgery, and they took out that tumor, and thank God it was a good tumor, whatever that term is. It was one of the good ones. And so from that, I had to take off 2 weeks of school. I had it removed, and then they took it out, and it was a chunk that they pulled out, but I caught strep throat during that time. So that was another week and a half of school. At the end of strep throat, with my immune system down and everything else, I got shingles, which is like being set on fire. It was miserable, and I've had it multiple times since then, which is just a horrible joke. And every time I tell a doctor that, they don't believe me that I've had it this many times. But that's a story for another day. Anyways, back to it. I missed a lot of days. It was about a month and a half in a row of missed school there. And although I didn't fall behind on testing, and the reading they were doing and everything wasn't difficult, and I knew what was going on, I still missed that time. And that school had a very strange policy where you had 7 periods in a day at that high school for some reason, and every period you missed, you had to make up hour-wise. Well, you could come an hour early in the school if you wanted to, which I already hated waking up as it was. So they wanted me to come an hour early, that's 1 period, and you can stay after school for an hour. So that's 2 periods. If I came an hour early and stayed an hour later every single day for the rest of that year, I still wouldn't have made up enough time for me missing all that time, even though it was medical. And they said, you have to make that or you have to repeat this grade. Well, I had a lot of arguments with teachers having to do with that, and we tried it for a little bit. And then finally, we had a talk with the principal. And a very interesting man. He was gruff, and I thought we weren't going to get along but one of the best things he did to me was he was honest. Mr. Haig was his name, and I still appreciate his honesty even now, even though I was a troublesome student and I know that. He said that, you'd have to repeat this year even if you came every day after school and did summer school. And your senior year, you'd be not behind because of education, but you'd be behind regardless because of what you'd have to make up. And so he suggested I drop out and I go and change programs to a different school and do it that way. Now we were in Kansas. The closest school was about an hour away for me to switch. There was a 40-minute one and a few other things, but there was an online option at one of them. Now this was 2008, and online schooling was kind of getting going better and better. 2008 was a different time, to say the least, in technology. And so we went with that. That was embarrassing as hell at first because I had to go to all the different teachers who already thought that I wasn't doing good as it is. The English teacher basically scoffed at me because I had to get her signature that day during class. The music teacher told me that I was making a huge mistake with my life and I was going to live in a box. And that really shook me to my core and made me decide that that wasn't going to happen. And it was just like, even though some of them knew why I was doing this, and I wasn't doing it because I was trying to just drop out of high school, they were just absolutely rude. And I'll always remember that. That day is like burned into my memory of the day where I had to take out this sheet, this dropout sheet, and go have it signed by everyone. Even like the shop teachers and everyone were just rude about it. The math teacher was nice, oddly enough, and I hated math. Anyways, we signed up for online schooling. And about a year of that, because you had to actually go through, and they, at the time, they didn't let you skip grades per se. So I finished up my junior year as it was. My senior year I completed in a week's time. Basically stayed down there in Colby, Kansas, staying at a friend of the church's house at that time because I was very involved in church back then, which things change, but again, story for another time. So got it all done on my whole senior year in like 1 week, and then I had some time before graduation happened. So we got schooling done probably it was February or March, I want to say. 100% done. I didn't graduate until late May with that school. And that whole schooling experience was weird anyways. The stuff I did do at home was like a fever dream at this point. Like I don't remember learning anything from that online schooling other than I watched The Veldt, that old like book. They did a movie of it as well. I watched that. I remember watching that video at like 2 in the morning in my parents' basement on an old crappy like Windows XP computer and answering like 10 questions and just being tripped out. I'm like, those lions ate those kids. And that's like the only thing I remember from that schooling period at all for the last year and a half. So yay for online education. And that's relevant because people are doing that right now. But back to that. I graduated in May of 2009, and it was kind of strange. It was me and 2 ladies that were much older than me. One was 12 years older, one was 15. I was just 18, graduated, and that was that. I thought, I'm going to start college in Colby, Kansas. I'm going to go for journalism. I was going to fill out the FAFSA. We didn't make much money, so scholarships were an option, and that was that. Well, then it wasn't. July rolls around, and it turns out I don't have enough credits to have a high school diploma. I didn't take Kansas history as a freshman because freshman I was back in California and they missed that. So that sucked. Ugh, just so frustrating. Freshman year, California, we moved sophomore year to Kansas and they just missed it. They absolutely missed it. And I did government, I did everything else. So they say you don't have a valid high school diploma. I say, okay, what do I do now? Well, you have to go back to school. Okay, well, the program didn't want to allow me back in because I had already done everything, and now I was going to be considered a non-traditional student because I had already graduated. And there was this big FUBAR event, essentially, where I couldn't figure out what to do with that, and I couldn't go to college because I didn't have a high school diploma, so I couldn't apply for certain things. And I was dating someone at the time, and their family actually said, why don't you come down here and try and go to this school? We applied. I actually was able to go in, and the principal there was so amazing for letting me in, and he talked to me, and it was a turning point for me in my life that I can actually like pin down was that second senior year, because I had to go through it all the way through in this school, 6 periods a day. That was in Ransom, Kansas. It was Western Plains High School, and that school changed me for who I am to this day, I feel. The English teacher, Mr. Jenner, he made a huge impact on my life in multiple ways. I remember not wanting to go to prom because the person I was dating at the time did not qualify. They had like too many D's and I was a straight A student. I was like near the top of the class with everyone else. And I told him I don't have money. I don't have a way to do this. They covered my entry. He got me a t-shirt and pants and took me there. I qualified for state speech with him, and I said, I don't know if I can do this. I don't have money. He covered that. Like, that man helped me out immensely to who I am today because he showed me genuine kindness, and I cannot thank him enough. So that senior year, I learned things about how to become an adult more. I was living away from my family this whole time. I was like 2.5 hours away from them, living in a very interesting place. I caught swine flu that year. I worked a job on the side that year so I could get gas for my car and help pay for some stuff. I would finish high school, which was about 20 minutes away from where I lived was the high school. I had to drive there, and then I drove 30 minutes south from that to a town called Ness City, and was a fry cook, and then I would drive back around usually 1 a.m. because it was a restaurant attached to a hotel that was also above a strip club. There was all kinds of weird stuff that year, but the other big thing was I read a lot. That also helped me in multiple ways. Just I went to the library there, and I just started straight through, and I read things from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to Tommyknockers to Atlas Shrugged to just absolutely everything you could possibly think of. Art of War. There was so many books that I went through that year, and that year was important. So I graduated again, and I wasn't allowed to do sports. They said I had too much of an advantage, even though I wasn't even the oldest kid in that school, but I was still considered non-traditional. And I never really did much for sports anyways, to be honest. I did track and stuff here and there. I tried football for a while. Nothing ever stuck in high school. I was a nerd. Who would have guessed? The biggest thing was going through that year taught me a lot about who I wanted to become. And so I graduated, this time with 17 other kids that were my age. Started my journey to college soon after. People talk to me and I'll tell them, oh yeah, I graduated high school twice. I was set on fire before. I had an adverse reaction to Benadryl, and I have stories for days. And that's what I kind of want some of this vlog to be, is just stories and letting you get to know a little bit about who I am, because I don't get to just straight talk about some of the stuff during the Twitch streams, and I want this to be a way where we can kind of connect more, and you can learn about me, and in the comments below and everything, I can learn so much about you. So thank you. We'll have more of this going on. This is our second video, vlog number 2. Yeah, I'm excited for this. This has been fun, something that's different, and I always look forward to it, and I can't wait for more. So make sure you follow at Twitch and all that good stuff, and I'm sure I'll have more links as things go on as we grow this channel to something awesome. So thanks, and have a good day.